Good morning, my fellow Alaskans. How are you all doing today? It is another beautiful day here in sunny Alaska, at least where I am. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful Friday the 13th. It is really good to see you all here today. I can never stress enough, please like and share this video if you're just joining us right now. Facebook and mainstream media hate it when you do things like that. We've got quite a few different legislative updates, and then we're going to go to a live meeting happening in the Senate Finance. And let me just go ahead and get myself on the screen here. We're supposed to have the great House budget debate where they either concur or not concur with the Senate's budget that was sent out to them here 3 days ago. There's only 6 days left in the session for them to complete their business, and that's including today. And then after 6 days is up, the only way they can do any more business down there in Juneau is if they declare a special session. This is an election season, so I really do doubt that's going to happen. They don't have much time left to, even if they don't concur with this budget, to do any real modifications to it and then hold another vote. Less than 6 days. It usually takes them a week in conference committee to strip out and revamp the entire budget if that was to happen. Now, behind the scenes that are going on down there in Juneau right now, they are currently taking and meeting in back rooms, and as the title of today's video says, blackmail, coercion, thinly veiled threats, you name it. Whatever they can do to convince people not to vote for this budget, they're doing it. Then the next thing that they're doing is they're now going after our governor. I don't know what else to say, but when you are saying that you will give a yes vote for this budget, when you cut the people's money, Alaskans' money, the $1,300 rebate check we are supposed to get back out of the budget, if our governor was to cave for something like that, Governor Dunleavy, I would be the #1 person out there that will guarantee doing a recall campaign, and I mean recall as in I will do everything in my power to campaign against you. I will find someone else to replace you in this upcoming election, guaranteed. I can't believe that, and this was leaked by the Alaska landmine, so I don't know how much water should be held, or, you know, I'm not carrying the water for them over there. We all know which way they lean in their reporting 99% of the time, and so we really got to take it with a grain of salt whether or not what is being said there is the truth. I think it's just another way of the radical left out there to try to stir the pot to make things a lot worse than it really is. So what is going on down there in Juneau? This is day 3. They once again have postponed the call of the chair to hear the great House debate over concurring or not concurring for House Bill 281, House Bill 282, state and capital budget, supplemental budget, and our PFDs, and God knows what else. You can see I've added a whole bunch of new stuff onto what I have written for today's broadcast up above. All of those things that are written there are like education. I mean, I am just absolutely floored when it comes to education and what they are claiming and what they are willing to actually spend out there, and what they claim that, bottom line, hold on a second, there we go. They're outright saying, you know, education is going to be damaged if this bill passes as is. It's unsustainable and it just can't be done. Well, the only reason why this bill is unsustainable is because all the enormous amounts of pork spending that is going on down there in Juneau. Roughly $3.4 billion by the calculations that are provided up above is being spent on K through 12 education here in Alaska. This doesn't include the University of Alaska. This is early education and K through 12 funding. $300 million to go back to pay school bond debts, another $250 million approximately to do school repairs, a $1.2 billion illegally forward funding them for 2023-2024 school year, another 1.36, or if I go by the numbers I have, it's $1.4 billion that they're spending on K through 12 just for this next year's education. And that includes the $60 million bonus that they have given them, one-time bonus this year, because their bills that they were pushing through for changing the student base allocation didn't pass. So they're currently stuck in limbo in committees. That they figured the best way to address the student population declining as much as it has and making sure that their funding continues to increase, instead of following the law and cutting their budget, they're trying to rewrite laws to increase how much is paid per student. So that $60 million bonus that they're adding on top of that budget this year, which put it at $1.4 billion, would be a actual SBA draw instead, because that's how much they increased the student-based allocation formula to be if it was to pass. There's not enough time left in this session in this year for them to even get it to go through over the goalposts, so that $60 million one-time bonus is in there for this year. So just in education alone, the $9 billion that is in this current budget, $3.4 billion of that goes to K through 12. Over 1/3 of the rest of that money goes to the Department of Health and Social Services, and then the rest of the money that is sitting there is distributed throughout the state of Alaska and all the different government agencies. This does not include, and I state it this way because from what I can see, the way the budget is currently written, our statutory PFD is following the 4-decade-old statutory formula and is going to be withdrawn directly from the earnings reserve account. Now, on top of all of this, they don't want to report it, at least mainstream media isn't, and neither is non-mainstream media, but a select few, that they have over $15 billion sitting there right now in their CBR, SBR, in the general fund down there in Juneau right now, $15 billion, and this includes the POMV draw that they took from our earnings reserve account, all combined together. And they can't, and they claim they can't pay us a statutory PFD, let alone on top of that an energy rebate check. And why am I making a big point of pointing all that out? Well, what the radical far left in Juneau is doing, like Rep. Zach Fields, Rep. Louise Stutz, Rep. Ivy Spinonsholz, Rep. Kelly Merrick, Rep. Bryce Edgman. I mean, I could just go down the list of those that are down there in Juneau right now that are telling the governor that if he doesn't strip out the energy rebate check, which is the only thing we're seeing from that $4.5 billion surplus in tax revenue they received this year, they will not pass the budget. At least that's the thinly veiled threat that they're currently making at this moment in time. Now, if our governor was to actually follow the laws, all of that $1.2 billion in forward funding that they are giving to K through 12 should be what's being stripped out of the budget. In fact, that's $300 million more than what that energy rebate check is. Ironic, isn't it, that the radical far left are more happy to hurt Alaskans, the majority of us, all 730,000 of us, the 630,000 of us that are going to be eligible for this rebate check, and they want to strip that out so that they can illegally forward fund K through 12 education And by forward funding it, this is going to be facing a lawsuit, and they will be going to court. And just like it has happened in the past when they tried to do this, the court system says that they cannot obligate a future legislative body by controlling the purse strings, spending money that is supposed to be in their control to spend. Kind of like the symbolic gesture that our Republican Party does every single year, ripping out, stripping away the $355,000 that's for abortion. Now, I personally find it morally reprehensible to commit abortion in the first place. I agree with them that this money should be stripped out, and we Alaskans shouldn't be forced to pay for someone else's abortion. I'm not saying that they can't have one, but, you know, if I had a choice about it, it wouldn't be allowed at all. Very, very extreme circumstances. More have to do with the health and safety of the mother than it has to do with anything else. Now, why are we hearing people like Rep. David Eastman and Rep. Christopher Kirka are going to vote no for this budget? Because it has that funding put back into the budget. Now, the House stripped it back out of the budget. The Senate put it back in. When it came time for that amendment and for it to be heard, I believe it was amendment number 5 in the Senate, if my memory recollection is correct, and it ended up getting tabled by none other than Revac. So we really got to ask the question, you know, who's running for Congress there, why did Revac take the amendment that would have stripped that abortion funding back out of the budget, not making sure that it didn't happen, so that money was still sitting there? Can you say it was a poison pill left into the budget on purpose to cause this kind of turmoil inside of the House of Representatives, making it harder for those that would normally have no problem because they're going to finally follow the statutory PFD law, which both of these legislators, Kirka and Eastman, do stand up for, lose a vote of a yes, of a concurrence, because of that abortion funding. Now, that abortion funding being stripped out is 100% a symbolic gesture. It has absolutely no bearing on whether or not it is legal, which it is not. Our Republican Party has stripped that funding out of the budget multiple times now, and every time they have ripped that money back out of the budget, our court system puts it right back in again. They say, no, no, no. Alaska's Constitution and Alaska laws say that you can't remove that money. We're putting it right back in. We lose the lawsuit. State of Alaska loses the lawsuit every single time for removing that funding out of the budget. And I find it really reprehensible that legislators down there, based on $355,000 that they damn well know is a symbolic gesture, which I personally stand for 100%, but it's at the cost of 730,000 Alaskans, which 120,000 of them are our children already living here that are suffering from this pandemic, suffering from the hyperinflation caused by Biden and his far left radical Democrat agenda, socialist agenda, that has shut down our economy, destroyed our ability of the earning power of a dollar anymore. They are reporting consumer goods are at an all-time record high inflation of 10%. Buying a used vehicle has gone up 50% in price. Buying a brand new vehicle has gone up 30% in price. Buying a home has gone up 50% out there. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of how much it's costing us. Our gas prices on average have risen over 58% in just the past year. Since Biden took office, our gas prices have doubled compared to what they were a year and a half ago. Just under a year and a half ago. So here we are, the great House debate going on down there in Juneau, and they are arguing over and over and over again why they think our money belongs to them. When is the hypocrisy of their lies and manipulation going to end? The greed and the entitlement down there is astounding. I mean, just absolutely astounding what they think they can get away with. I just can't fathom it. It just, Now, are they doing anything that is going to help us Alaskans? Absolutely not. Why are they delaying it, the call to the chair, to actually hear these two bills on the floor? HB 281, HB 282, state and capital budget, supplemental budget, mental health budget, our statutory PFDs, and our energy rebate check. They're delaying it to cause the drama. Representative Louise Stutes, Bryce Edgman, Ivy Spinonsholtz, Garen Tarr, Steve Thompsonson, I could keep going down the list, Kelly Merrick, the list doesn't end. All of these folks think that money belongs to them and the special interests that they represent, not us Alaskans. So what can you do? What can we do to help facilitate them doing the right thing and voting yes for this budget, and making sure that our governor does the right thing by vetoing out what is illegal and leaving in our statutory PFDs and that energy rebate check? Here is one of the things that you can do. Give me just a second to find the right button here. We will put it up onto the screen. Here we go. All right. Right to my let's see, how does that go again? To my left, or it would be to my right, but I am pointing to my left, is the list of every House of Representative that we have down there in Juneau. And I will make sure to post this list into the comments of this video so that it is easy to get. It is every single one of their phone numbers and every single one of them, I believe, emails to be able to contact them. Nope, this is all of their phone numbers, every single phone number that they have down there. This is how you can get a hold of every House member and tell them to follow the law and pass this budget and quit trying to play corrupt crony politics behind closed doors out of the public view, trying to tell the governor how he is to do his job and veto out one of the only things inside of that, nearly the only thing, because I'm excluding my PFDs in this conversation for this, that benefits every single living Alaskan here. A family of four could really use that energy rebate check coming to them. Now, come on. Now, that is $5,200 to a family of four. That will fill up their heating fuel tank, buy them the firewood they need, the coal they need, or just pay for the ever-increasing cost of natural gas and electricity within their homes. Not to mention how much this devastating hyperinflation is costing us at the consumer goods we are buying at the grocery store, or what we're paying at the gas pump to get ourselves to and from work. Any raises we may have seen over the past year have been completely wiped away, and we find ourselves, us everyday Alaskans, living in a deficit once again. So please contact every person that is sitting there on that list. Don't leave a single one of them out. Every single name on that list needs to be getting a phone call, and tell them to follow the law and do the right thing for Alaskans and pass this budget. Quit trying to use coercion and blackmail and thinly veiled threats of what you're going to do if people vote for this, or what you're going to do to the governor to vilify him if he doesn't veto what they tells him to veto. I mean, that would be like me going up and telling everybody to call the governor to veto out the abortion funding that he dang well knows that when it goes to courts will be put back in again, just to appease two people whose values I stand with. But the majority of the good that would be done by getting a full statutory PFD and this rebate check far outweighs the symbolic gesture they are making. Please, if you're just joining us right now, like and share this video. We need to keep Alaskans informed on what's going on down there in Juneau. I am hoping to be around when they begin the actual floor debate for the actual Senate budget that was passed over to them, and hopefully be able to get a concurrence from 40 of the members. I mean, there should be a unanimous vote going on to pass this budget. I mean, every crony capitalist out there that feeds off of the trough of our state's budget every single year, Alaska, AFL, CIO, DHHS, or DHSS, and how about DEED, Department of Early Education, the list goes on, Alaska AFL for our unions. How about Senator Natasha von Imhoff's family, the Rasmussen Foundation, who will gain 100. I would say they got about 100 million of this $9 billion budget that somehow miraculously gets funneled over to them. Ironic, isn't it? She sits on the Senate Finance Committee and her family gains millions, multiple millions every year from the state budget. Sounds like a conflict of interest to me, but people keep putting her on in the Senate Finance anyways. No different than what we got going on in the House. What are we going to do to change what is going on down there in Juneau? I mean, what acts can we do to make sure that the best interest of all Alaskans is being looked after and taken care of? What we can do is pick up that telephone right now and call every single person that is on that list next to me and let them know they need to pass this budget. They have $15 billion available to them to spend this year. They're only spending 9 of it. They could take the other $6 billion and include that into the budget. I wouldn't have no heartache over that. And they could pay back everything they've stolen from us from the last 6 years on top of what they are giving us right now. Simply just follow the law. And guess what? They would still have $5 billion sitting there in their CBR savings and general fund after it's all done and said this next year. And we would still be sitting with record-breaking profits within the ERA and our permanent fund corporation that would far exceed anything they ever predicted we would be at, by close to $13 billion if they were to do what I just said. Then it would be over $70 billion, $73 billion still sitting there to pay us back everything they have stolen. And they're still far beyond their 10-year projections by a good $13 billion. So there's no reason when they say they can't afford to do something, they're lying to us. When they say they can't pay us our statutory PFDs, they are outright lying to us. They are more worried about making sure that money goes to their greedy, capitalistic buddies that they cater to, Alaska AFL-CIO, our school boards, districts that are out there, nonprofits and profit for organizations like the Rasmussen Foundation. I mean, I'm appalled that $3.4 billion is being handed directly over to K through 12 this year. And they have the wherewithal to say, giving us a statutory PFD and the Energy Rebate Check shouldn't happen. Alaskans shouldn't get it. You're going to affect our budget in the future years. What are we going to spend on the children who get the worst education in the United States, ranked number 52, including Puerto Rico and Guam in that total, and also worse than many third world countries? Don't let the spin they give you look at this school or that school. You need to take all 503 schools we have here in the state of Alaska and look at them over an entire encompassing them, every single one of them into that group when you're looking at how well are we performing giving an education to our children, and we're the worst. Outright worst, and it's costing triple the cost anywhere else in the nation. On average, $22,000 per child. Well, with the budget that they have given them, if you included everything that is there, that $3.4 billion, $3.4 billion, normal budget is around $1.34 billion. They have more than doubled it. They are now spending close to $50,000 per child. That's how much they're giving them this year that's going to school. And that doesn't appall anybody. That doesn't make anybody upset that this kind of crony capitalism is going on out there. I shake my head. Now, why, mind you, did they decide to give us a statutory PFD this year? Why are they giving us an energy rebate check this year? In all honesty, my personal opinion, and this is my opinion, they did it to buy our silence for all of the reckless, radical spending that they are doing. Just in education, I have spelled out the radical, reckless spending that they are doing there. They do not need $1.2 billion given to them for forward funding. They did not need the $60 million bonus that they got this year. That $1.26 billion that they are giving them is reckless and radical and absolutely no reason for it to be happening in the first place. They are 10% less in the student-based population going to school this year than they were last year. Why are we giving them more money when they're educating less students? It should be the other way around. Their budget should be decreasing, not increasing. Follow the laws. Follow our laws that they themselves have written, and we wouldn't be in this financial mess, this fiscal disaster that is self-inflicted and caused directly by people that only care about crony capitalism to their elite multi-millionaire buddies that benefit off of this budgets every single year, like Alaska AFL, the Department of Education, and the Department of Health and Social Services. These people take the bulk. They are over 2/3. They are nearly 90% of the entire budget. And the rest of the budget that comes to us Alaskans is about 10%. Department of Corrections, troopers, hopefully doing some road and capital upgrades. But this year they had billions to spend. So yes, I understand a good chunk of this budget this year. It's about a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Is kind of the way it's breaking out. 1/3 going to education, 1/3 going to Department of Health and Social Services, and 1/3 actually going to Alaskans. And I consider anything that is being spent on capital improvements or upgrading our infrastructure to get more with modern times, fix our crumbling bridge, to be a benefit for all Alaskans, including our permanent fund dividend and the energy rebate check that they're going to be giving us. Now, if the governor, like I said, if he turns around and vetoes either one of those two things to gain yes votes to pass this budget right now, he needs to wake up, get his head out of their woohoos, the radical lefts, and start looking at around our state at suffering Alaskans and realize that if he has any chance in hell of ever being reelected, that funding will not be cut from the budget. Period. Again, cut what is illegally there, like the forward funding. Remain what should stay in place is by following the law, our statutory PFD, and the energy rebate, because that was legally and lawfully passed to give us by the Senate. It was legally and lawfully passed in the original budget that was passed out of the House. There's no excuse why they can't pay us what they owe us and do all of this crony capitalism spending that's lining the pockets of the special interests with hundreds of millions and billions of dollars this year. I'm floored that Alaska AFL-CIO has come out and called this a radical, destructive budget because they're giving us our fair share for once, the first time in 7 years. First time in 7 years. They're going to give Alaskans our fair share of this budget. And I say it that way because what they're giving us our fair share of isn't a budget item, but a statutory law that distributes the wealth of our resources to each and every Alaskan who gave them up when we became one of the United States of America, the 49th state. They want you to forget that. When they crafted and they put the first deposits into the PFD Corporation, I think it was that first $9 million that got deposited in there that started it all out, that has now grown to $80 billion. They want you to think that money belongs only to them and them alone. Why is the corpus in control of the people of Alaska? Why can they not touch the corpus without our vote? Because the bottom line is that money there has and always will be and belongs to the citizens of Alaska. Alaskans, not government, Alaskans. Unfortunately, the ERA, because of the way they had written the law, the statute for that, the ERA, they found a way, thanks to Governor Walker and the court systems, to start spending that money unilaterally however they want, because our court system says they control the power of the purse strings, and because that is not constitutionally protected like our corpus is, they can spend it however they want, ignoring the statutory 4-decade-old law like they have done over 6 years, until this year. Why is the radical left inside of the House and the 5 in the Senate that didn't vote for this bill not wanting it to pass in the first place? Because if it does, it justifies what us PFD defenders have been saying for 6 long, very, very long years now. They could have been paying it all since day one. They just choose to lie to us and say that they don't have the money, as our corporation and our PFD fund keeps breaking records year after year for how much it is earning. And our money is still sitting in the ERA right now that they have stolen over the last 6 years. Like I said, they could add $6 billion, 7 billion, somewhere right in that ballpark, and pay back everything they've stolen over the last 6 years on top of this year's statutory PFD. And still have $13 billion in record profits still sitting there in the corpus and ERA of our permanent fund dividend account that far exceeded their 10-year projections of where we would be sitting at this point in time. At this point in time, they expected us to only have $60 billion in there, not 80. The truth matters, and we need to make sure we keep pounding it out there so that people know it and stop believing the far left media spin. Now, the Senate has been listening to a fiscal update for the spring forecast that they have going on and where they stand at, and I'm going back to see if where they're at in that particular meeting right now. And it's still going on, and or at least on my screen because I actually saved it. But they've been listening to the spring forecast. Bert Stedman and David Wilson and Bill Wielechowski, and I'm not sure if Natasha von Imhoff was actually there in the room or not, but it wouldn't surprise me if she was and wasn't there. Why would she be there? She's too busy spending the billions that are hundreds of millions, if not billions, that are now flooding over into her corporation. She's just completely ecstatic about that happening. Please take a moment right now, like, share this video with all of your friends, and make sure the majority of Alaskans know that what is going on down there in Juneau, the crony capitalistic theft that is taking place, the backroom coercion and blackmail and thinly veiled threats that are being made by both sides of the parties from everyone that is sitting in down there in Juneau right now in the House of Representatives. The list was up on the screen. Please give them a call and make sure that they know, each and every one of those representatives down there know that they need to follow the law and pass this budget. I completely can't stand this budget. They overspent by billions that never should have gone out the door if they were being fiscally responsible. They still could have accomplished every single one of the capital projects that they have slid into this budget without a problem. Not a single problem doing that. But all the other illegal, law-breaking budget items like the K through 12 forward funding never should have been in the budget ever. That is reckless, radical, illegal spending that they are doing there, and it had no business being in the budget at all. That's crony capitalism at its worst playing out there. Again, this budget has been postponed until, and your guess is as good as mine right now. I mean, I have no idea what is going to happen next. But the great House budget debate, HB 281, HB 282, state capital, mental health, PFD, supplemental, and I kind of ran out of room. It should also say energy rebate check. The greed and entitlement in Juneau is astounding. I just can't fathom it. Has been postponed again to the call of the chair. So I will be keeping a close eye out today for them to go live. I do have a couple of things I need to do business related wise for earning my income that I need to head out for, and hopefully I will be back before that happens. And but again, please like and share this video right now. Alaskans need to be informed and updated on what the current standings are. Everybody needs to read what I wrote up above, especially about the education portion that is written there. $3.4 billion. That is just astounding. The greed and entitlement of them is just, I just can't fathom it. The corruption on full display for everyone to see, and the coercion, blackmail, and backroom boiler deals that are currently going on there in Juneau. It really does need to come to an end. We need to do everything that we can to get it to stop. Again, there is the phone numbers there next to me. Please give them a phone call. I will make sure that it gets posted in the comments below, and I will add them in so that that you guys can just easily have the list to be able to pull up. If your phone works like mine, save the picture to your phone, and then you can actually go in there and copy the phone number right off of the picture, put it into your phone and hit dial, and away you go. It's amazing, the technology and what they're able to read on pictures now that they never could do before. It's just amazing. So please like and share this video. I will be back later on today if they go live. If they don't go live, I do got a really busy schedule. I am busting my butt trying to get all of my summer startups up and operating right now. And I am just running around with my head cut off like crazy, and taking the time out to do this is taken away from what I should be doing. But I think it's very important that all Alaskans are well educated about the greed and entitlement that is going on down there in Juneau and what they think belongs to them. Please go to our website, politidic.com, and help us grow. It's your support that has made this all possible. We have, you can find us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook at Politidic and Politidic Unfiltered. And you can also find us on our website at www.politidic.com at Politidic Live, when we are live like we are right now, doing a restream, using Restream, which your support has made possible. We are live on our actual website, so if you wanted to catch this video while we are broadcasting there, you can always go to our website also. And again, we can be found at Twitter and YouTube, Facebook, all at Politidic, and at Politidic Unfiltered on Facebook. You guys all have yourself a great afternoon, or good morning, I should say. Not quite afternoon yet, but it's getting close. And again, go to our website, politidic.com, click that support button. All proceeds go right back into expanding what we continue to do. We've done major upgrades over the years, microphones, cameras, laptops, restream services so that we can be on all of these social media channels at one time. We have big dreams of finding ourselves streaming directly to Rumble, but that costs a monthly subscription. Just their basic subscription is $50 a month to be able to do very limited uploading of videos live onto their page. But we would like to get on Rumble, so that way, like when YouTube wants to censor us, we can be on the platform that you can still be able to watch videos uncensored. And which has happened recently. We were censored on YouTube for live streaming an election integrity seminar that was given from a person that was traveling around the state. And just like we just found today, the State of the Union address, the one and only one that Joe Brandon has given us this past year, I have found that the Facebook originally flagged it as a Disney and a Warner Brother copyright violations. Now they're giving me some news company out there that sounds like some foreign national outlet, and saying I have violated their copyrights after all of these months since that State of the Union address. And they're now saying I violated another copyright infringement on that exact same video for somebody else. Well, newsflash, Facebook, if you're monitoring this video right now, that video did not come from them. It came from Fox News. I've told you that before. Wake up, smell the coffee, because or get your heads out of your woohoos and actually make sure that when you're going to flag somebody's page or try to put a copyright violation against them, that you've got your ducks in order. You could have gone back to the last fight of the copyright violation that you tried to put on this video and see that I won it. Hands down, no questions asked, just pointing out the simple fact of where this video was live streamed from. And Fox News, I already know for a fact, will not place a copyright violation against me for restreaming their video. Again, go to our page, politidic.com, click the support button. All proceeds go right back into helping us grow and taking on and exposing what the mainstream media and our far left radical government throughout our entire state, whether it be local, state, or federal, exposing it for everybody to see. You guys all have a great morning, and I'm hoping to see you later with the actual House budget debate to concur for the budget.